Hello, it is Topical Tuesday, June 11th, 2019. Steve Sipress here, nearing the end of a fantastically sunny day and extremely hot. A few clouds in the sky, abnormal, but the clouds always add a whole bunch of color. There it is. It's tough to see usually on the phone here, but nice sunset just starting behind me, and as the sun goes down more, thanks to all those clouds, the colors will get richer and richer, which might happen as we do this recording here. But as usual, I will attempt to make it quick. And before I forget, as usual, if you want help with this topic, because this is a big money maker, you go over to helpfromsteve.com if you're serious about getting the hang of this thing and putting some extra money in your pocket based on the weather. We'll get on the phone together and I'll help you do that. You go to helpfromsteve.com. So let's get into it. Topic of today is the heat. We had our first 110-degree day of the year here in the Phoenix area of Arizona. Now, elsewhere around the country, the weather is likely not as severe, and that's pretty much the topic of today's video. By the way, for the next couple of days, we're going to stay, the forecast says, over the 110-degree mark. Of course, that only happens at the height of the heat part of the day, 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock. Right now it is around 7:30 p.m. here, and it has dipped all the way down to, I think, about 103. I just checked the old weather.com. And so look at that, a drop of 7 degrees in just a few hours to an extremely pleasant, by the way, 103 degrees. Before I moved here, I never thought I'd be saying that kind of stuff, but with zero humidity and a nice little breeze, 103 is actually extremely pleasant here. Anyway, so what's all this about making money and doing your marketing and advertising based on the weather? Well, congratulations. That's thanks to modern technology. There's a whole bunch of ways to do it, and I don't have. I'm going to take the time to get into all the details here, as I do on all of these Facebook daily Facebook Live videos. I mean, you're watching this could be anywhere on my podcast, my blog, on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, I don't know, wherever. I put them all over the place, all over the web. I record them on my Facebook.com business page, which is facebook.com/smallbizhelp, B-I-Z, smallbizhelp. So if you want to interact with me, I really enjoy that. Come on here. As of now, I just switched over a couple weeks ago from my personal page, so I haven't ramped up the interaction yet with people coming over to my business page, but I always enjoy questions and examples and just saying hello, and any comments you want to put, come and join me live. But so here's the deal. Years ago, the weather was much more of a victimization or a luck factor in advertising and marketing. We would lament the fact that, we put all this time and money into our mailing, and then it mailed out and, happened to be a snowstorm that day. And I wanted people coming into my store, and now the streets aren't plowed and the schools are closed and nobody's going out, and what a waste of money. Or assorted other ways that luck would play a factor. For instance, I remember having some roofing clients years ago, and they would do a lot of storm chasing, which is a common strategy in advertising and marketing for roofers. Basically, they watch the weather, and if a storm is forecast, I mean a big storm like the tornadoes that hit all over the Midwest recently, hundreds of tornadoes, dozens a day, ripping the roofs right off of homes and businesses and doing a heck of a lot more damage than that. But roofing is one of those businesses, and tree services and landscaping and fencing and all kinds of services make money in storms and are storm-based. But roofers would especially do this. They would look at the long-range forecast, anticipate when a big storm was about to hit in a few days. In Florida, that would be hurricanes. In the Midwest, tornadoes. And tornadoes went all over the country this year, and so forth. And they would attempt to time their marketing. So they would mail out a mailer a few days before the storm was supposed to hit. And then if it didn't and it passed over, there goes all that money. Or if a surprise storm came in and hit, they'd be in a panic of I got nothing out there. And now they're calling all my competitors because I didn't jump on it. And so things in the early days of this kind of weather targeting, I remember advertisers, business owners hitting up the Weather Channel, the cable TV channels, or the local cable TV channels that still do to this day. A lot of them have that scroll on the bottom of the screen, and you could buy advertising on that scroll, and they would pay attention to the weather, make that phone call, and get in there for that day, or alert their advertising exec at the station, hey, I'm going to want to get in there anytime the weather dips below this number, goes above here, or this amount of rain, or whatever it is. Well, now all that, a lot of that, is all can be done with technology. Now, as with everything in business, true entrepreneurs are not looking for more things we can do ourselves. We're looking for the experts to do it for us. So if you want to start to get into this, if this sounds like a good idea to you, first of all, if you want some help with it and where to find the right resources, if you're serious about that, of course, as always, you go over to helpfromsteve.com. That's where you get my one-on-one help. But anyway, we as entrepreneurs are never looking to learn how. When we hear a great idea like this, we're not looking to learn how do I do that. We ask the question, who can I get to do that for me? And there are a whole bunch of agencies that immerse themselves in this technology and have their own proprietary software and all kinds of stuff. And they pay attention to the changes of Google and the social media sites and all that stuff all the time. And they can really help you take advantage of this. So first I'll give you a little amusing story. Those that are that people that love to laugh at me will find this extra amusing. Is you might know, those who follow me or know me, that I did for 9 years, I was involved in the door-to-door sales company. Now, I was only out in the field every day, pretty much, Sundays off, but otherwise every day for the first about 13 months. I was in the field, as they say, working my way up to management. And once I worked myself up to running my own location, I only went out in the field once in a while to train people or to just have fun or have a contest there or whatever. But for the first 1 year of what would be a 9-year career in that door-to-door sales industry, I worked myself up right from the bottom, going out in the field and doing door-to-door sales. And we learned, and I did it, by the way, all over the country, and all 365 days a year, of course. So we learned how to deal with all kinds of weather, from 100-degree days plus humidity to neg 20 below, and where it's snowing 3 inches an hour, and going out in 2-3 feet of snow, or going out in torrential downpours of rain. And so I was out in Fort Smith, Arkansas, as the funnel clouds went overhead in Hurricane Alley, and we would duck into the local business and hide behind the counter along with the business owner for the few businesses that were open. We always spotted one that we saw would be open down the block or something, and sure enough, there's a funnel cloud, ran in and hid, but none of them touched down that day. So I can't say I actually was doing door-to-door sales in a tornado, but I was doing it as every business we went out to that was open. We were talking to the business owner and anyone else there. They had the Weather Channel on, and the Weather Channel I was amazingly up to pretty much like within 100 yards of where the funnel clouds were. And so we were following along. They're like, oh, here it is on the map. And we were like, wow, that's getting close and whatever. So it was that kind of fun day. I only got once in my life to do that. And the whole office was closed. And the manager, the owner of the location was like, hey, everyone go home. No one's going out today in this. And me and one or two other people were like, I'm going to experience this. Let's go out. And that's the kind of thing I did. So even when the office closed with the extreme weather, I said, let's experience this. Let's go out in 3 feet of snow. Let's go out when it's a blizzard, when it's a hurricane, when it's a tornado. Let's go out in the torrential flooding downpours. Let's get out there and experience this kind of stuff. So we learned basically to ignore weather. Pretty much the old saying from the military, from the Marines, or wherever that comes from. We ignore Payne Weber. As my Teddy Brenner, the late Ted Brenner, the late great Ted Brenner, one of my favorite roommates of all time in law school, was in the Marine Corps. Still to this day, I think he might be the only person ever to go from Harvard Law School into the Marines. And he used to say, we ignore Payne Weber, meaning pain and weather, and we ignore it. So it didn't matter what the day, what the weather, what the everything. I mean, if it was too hot, took off the coat. Too cold, put on an extra layer and some gloves and long underwear and 16 layers and whatever. Like we ignored. The weather did not stop us from going out and selling stuff. In fact, we always used it to our advantage. If it's raining, and we knocked on her door, someone would go, "Oh my goodness, look at you, you're out here in the rain, what's going on?" "Yeah, come on in." So now they would welcome us in, where if it was nice weather, they'd say, "Get the hell out of here, no soliciting." And so we'd walk into a place in a business on a torrential downpour day, and the person behind the counter, nobody's in there, of course, because nobody's shopping that day, so there's a benefit. We have their undivided attention, where a lot of times business owner would say, "I'm busy, come back later, get out of here, what are you doing, don't sell me anything," even if we had stuff they wanted. But they will welcome us and go, "Oh my goodness, like, look at you, poor thing, whatever, is there anything I can do for him?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can get me a change of clothes and an umbrella," and we'd have some fun, we'd have some laughs, we'd sell some stuff. So we sold stuff, good weather, bad weather, you name it. So I ignored weather. Well then, flash ahead, fast forward a few years, after I ended my door-to-door sales career, it was actually only about a year later, year and a half, and I met my beautiful wife, Michelle, who was in the retail industry. And she was constantly paying attention to the weather. And I was constantly being my ridiculous self and saying, who gives a crap about the weather? We ignore the weather, forget about the weather. And man, did she teach me a big lesson, and that's what I'm talking about today, is the fact that the weather plays a huge role in people's buying decisions. And in the retail industry, especially if you're in it, people are not going out shopping in a snowstorm. People are not going out shopping in the middle of the day down here in Arizona all summer long when it's 115 degrees. They'll go out early in the morning, they'll wait till later in the day, they're not going out when it's torrential downpours, etc., etc., etc. So the weather really matters. Well, now, thanks to technology, you can gear your advertising and marketing efforts to trigger based on weather-related events. Fantastic. It's a huge opportunity, not just for retail, but just about, you will see people's moods. You can study this stuff. I always talk about the direct response marketing that I teach and that I use for myself and my clients to make tons of money and have a lot less stress and have a lot more fun in your life, is all based on two things and two things only: math and human behavioral psychology. So what we're talking about here is human behavioral psychology, the fact that the weather affects the mood of human beings. It just does. So if you're down here and you're a local business and you're sending out, say, emails to your local customer list or prospect list, you do not want to be sending them out in the heat of the day in the summer. That's when people are not in a good mood. They're not in the mood to read stuff, think about buying, their head hurts, we can't even think straight, it's 115 degrees, we just got to wait a few hours until it calms down a little bit, and then we'll be in the frame of mind to think and to talk and to walk and to do anything. But in those about 3-4 hours of the day all summer long, it's like siesta time. It's like, do not make us think, we don't want to talk, we don't want to do anything, we want to get in the pool and cool off. And even the pool, by the way, will be about 95 degrees when it's 115, 118 degrees every day for 3 weeks straight. So body temperature 98.6, pool 95, not that much cooling off is going to happen. So that's not the time to try selling us stuff. Okay, the same thing is when a big storm is coming, or a storm is just hit, or it is hitting. Not a good time to try and sell stuff to people. So the weather plays a huge role. In fact, in things totally, you would think, unrelated to the weather makes a difference. So some things related to the weather. I'll give you some ideas how to use this. If you sell clothing, well, you don't want to sell overcoats in the summer. Everyone knows that. But however, you can now, thanks to technology, you can target this and have weather triggers in place in your social media advertising, your Google pay-per-click, your emails, your text messages can all be triggered by weather, so that if it happens to be, and let's say you sell nationwide or even worldwide, you can have different ads be triggered in different areas based on the weather. How cool is that? So, for instance, big chains will do this all the time. Let's say a Starbucks. Starbucks, at the same time, they're running their pay-per-click ads, let's say on Google, and at the same time in one city where it's kind of gloomy and rainy day, they will say, hey, come on in and warm up with a Frappuccino, Venti, Grandi. I can't stand Starbucks. I don't drink coffee, so I don't really know all the names, but, whatever their funky, crazy names for stuff are, with a latte and a whatever. So that ad will be triggered in that area, but then across the country, somewhere like here, where it's blazingly hot, the same spend, the same ad that's placed, but then has a weather trigger down here, we will see the ad that says, hey, come in and cool off with a iced coffee from Starbucks. And so McDonald's will do this. They will say, come in and get a coffee on a gloomy or a chilly day, and wherever that is in the country. And then wherever it's hot in the country, they'll say, come on in and get a McDonald's Blizzard, or whatever their, that's Wednesdays, I think, but whatever their dessert is called. So this is all done now through technology, and it results in fantastically increased profits and minimized losses. Because if you were say all over the country, McDonald's said, today we're going to promote our iced coffee, and then a heat wave was sweeping over a certain area, those dollars are just pretty much wasted. Or what did I say, iced coffee? Iced coffee, that's where you would want the ad. All right, whatever. See, the heat's even getting to me now that it's cooled down. But you get what I'm talking about. Well, now, you might see whenever you drive down the road or walk down in a street, you see these billboards that are electronic billboards. Same thing, they could be programmed to show different images based on the weather. So these are ways that, of course, the weather triggers these sales. People buy more bathing suits when it's sunny and hot out, and they will buy more raincoats when it's raining. Well, you have any kind of a retail store or even an online store selling apparel, you can have different ads running in different areas all around the world, the country, wherever, but you can also have different emails or text messages or social media ads triggered by the weather that happens to be occurring at that moment. So if a rainstorm hits, boom, Facebook ads go out to everybody talking about your windbreaker and your parka or your hoodie or whatever it is. And people will be, it's not like they're saying, oh, I need that right now because it's raining, but their mind is thinking that way. Their mind is saying, wow, that looks really cool, and I can feel that right now I would like to have that. And they're more in the frame of mind to be buying that product. But if you showed them, when it's, suddenly the heat blast comes in, and you show them that same raincoat, hoodie, whatever, they're like, yeah, I don't even want to think about that, and they'll just click away, and those are just dollars thrown out the window. So using weather triggers in your advertising and marketing is going to save you from throwing away dollars, and it's going to boost your response. Every study shows that it does, and the key is understanding that weather affects mood, people in a better frame of mind with good weather to buy just about anything, totally unrelated to the weather, and things I just talked about that are clearly related to the weather, roofing after a storm, iced coffee when it's hot, hot coffee when it's cool and gloomy, windbreaker versus bathing suit, on and on. I mean, I remember a study showing, I don't know if it was airlines overall or one airline that did a study, people buy airline tickets like 25 to 30% increase when the weather is nice. Likely people are thinking of traveling when the weather's nice and not thinking of leaving their house when the weather is oppressively too hot, oppressively too cold, too rainy, whatever. So this whole thing about the old days, like my beautiful wife Michelle taught me, about people not thinking of going out to retail stores, it's about, we met about 18 years ago. So back then, pre-really, internet shopping extravaganza days, it was all about, are people going to go out based on the weather? Are they going to want to leave the house? They're going to be in the mood to buy, and the weather does matter. So my ridiculous door-to-door sales day mindset of weather doesn't matter, ignore the weather, forget it, totally corrected, as with many things in life, by my beautiful wife Michelle. So, and by the way, opposites attract, so therefore you know that everyone loves Michelle. Anyway, so now there's a lot of technologies, a lot of different agencies that do this, a lot of details about it. If you're serious about making money with your advertising and marketing, saving money and making money with weather triggers, and you want some help, go over to helpfromsteve.com and I'll help you out. I got clients making all kinds of money with this stuff, saving all kinds of money. I've done it myself. And it's getting better and better and better as technology continues to improve. But there are a lot of pitfalls and a lot of mistakes that can be made that can cost you a lot of money with this thing. So if you want to save some money, more importantly, you want to make a lot of money, you want to get the right help from somebody. So if it isn't me, get help from somebody on this stuff. But by all means, don't just live through the weather. and have your own mood affected and have your own habits affected and go, oh, it's so hot, I got to stay inside, or it's so cold, I'm staying inside, or I'm going out now because it's so nice out, I'm in such a good mood, I feel like buying something and shopping and going out to eat and whatever. Like, get on, as I always say, get on the right side of the cash register. It means don't just be the buyer of this. Don't be the consumer, just be the consumer thinking about all this. Of course, we're all consumers, but don't just be the consumer. Get on the other side of the register and start to sell based on it. Start to make money based on all this stuff. There is a lot of money to be made with weather-based marketing and advertising. And that'll do it for Topical Tuesday on So Far here in the Scottsdale area, Phoenix, Scottsdale area, and possibly in the entire country. The first 110-degree day of the year, the hottest day of the year so far. So you want your marketing and advertising to be red hot, you want to use weather-based triggers. See what I did there? That'll do it for Topical Tuesday as the sun sets over the mountains in the west. Some purples and blues and reds coming out now. And I'll be back tomorrow on World Wide Web Wednesday. See, today's topic not really right for World Wide Web because it's offline with the billboards and newspaper ads. All kinds of advertising can be triggered online and offline based on the weather. Tomorrow, though, I'll have a specific tip to help you make money on the internet. So thanks, everyone, being here today. And by all means, before my calendar totally fills up, get on over to helpfromsteve.com, and I will help you out one-on-one. Thanks for being here today. Over and out. Bye-bye.